I just got back from spending a year living in Asia, and I think I found out why some of the world's longest living people call Asia their home. These lessons changed my life for the better, and today I'm going to share them with you. So growing up in the West, I had never really experienced much of Asia or Asian culture or the East. In California and in some places in the States, there is a big connection to Asian culture, but it's still quite Americanized. And for me, there was always this fascination growing up with, pop culture, movies, film, TV shows, this other world out there in the East, and this different style of philosophy and religion. So I really wanted to discover this. And then as I grew older and I discovered that actually two of the blue zones, one secret but now famous from the Netflix documentary and the book, these fountains of youth, I knew I needed to go to Asia and see it and experience it and study it for myself. So I went there and spent a year and documented and studied as much as I could about what leads to some of this healthy and happy and just a good life in Asia. I've distilled that year and all of those ideas into 5 key lessons and key takeaways that lead to a happier and healthier life. They've changed my life, and I want to share them with you today. Lesson number 5. The power of adaptability and flexibility and resilience. This all kind of ties together because the lesson that I saw time and time again here was just how relaxed and easygoing people were with almost anything that was happening. Of course, it's different from place to place and country to country, but I really noticed how people took things just as they were. They didn't necessarily make some huge drama out of it. They witnessed something that occurred and then they dealt with it. I think one super practical story about this is my friend Julian, who is half Japanese and living in Okinawa. For him, when typhoons come around, this is normal, this is okay, and they just get on with it. They just live with it. He was telling me, I make sure we have a little bit of advance notice. I get a bunch of movies and TV shows downloaded on my computer, get a couple power banks, and then boom, he just spends a few days just watching movies. And so again, it's not necessarily that it's fun, but people are just very resilient and they just in a way have kind of come to terms with it. This is really fundamental, and I really maybe notice and tie in the effect here with Buddhism and some of the religions in the region, because through these religions, through these philosophies and these ways of life, people have come to maybe not necessarily make a big story out of things, but just see things as they are. And that's a very key fundamental philosophy in Buddhism. The lesson here is, let's just approach life for what it is. Let's live with life as it is. And we have our stories and our little dramas and melodramas that we make out of things. But let's try and tone those down a little bit and just live with the reality of things. With doing that comes less stress, and with less stress comes a happier and healthier life. All right, so lesson number 4, the warmth, the sun and the people. This is such a critical one, I'd say, that I learned in Asia. I know it's probably obvious to a lot of you, especially if you've been to Asia before, but it is pretty hot there. And it's not just hot during the day. It's hot during winter, it's hot during summer, it's hot during spring and fall. In Chiang Mai in Thailand, they called it winter. November, December, January, February, it was still around 30 degrees Celsius or somewhere in the upper 80s, 90s in Fahrenheit during winter in Thailand. It makes a huge difference, ultimately, how people feel, what sort of energy and warmth that they have. Vitamin D is really crucial and important. And when you're so far south, close to the equator, You get a lot more sun, a lot more warmth, a lot more vitamin D. This, I really believe, was one of the biggest lessons I had from my time. And a little story about this is when I was leaving Bangkok and flying out of Thailand, coming back here to Europe. I was flying into Munich, a couple hours from here, and I left Bangkok and it was 36 degrees. And I landed in Munich, got off the plane, barely got off the plane into the little jetway, and it was from 36 to 6 degrees. And I could already kind of start to see my breath a little bit. So it makes a huge difference. And of course, you can adjust yourself and adapt and get used to either one of these situations. But I really, truly believe that the sun, the warmth, the vitamin D, you see it in the people, you see it in the culture. I saw it in how I felt on a daily basis. It makes such a huge difference. To wrap it up, it goes back to that stable and consistent warmth. And in a way, I think when your environment and when the world around you is stable and consistent, this really has a big influence on you. You are also stable and consistent. When it comes to growing tropical fruit that we all love, there's basically never really a proper season. You can just grow the whole year round. And I'd say that's a bit of a metaphor and an analogy for us as human beings. You're also able to stay pretty healthy, stable, and consistent all year round. If you like this type of content and you want more of this type of content, please give me a sign, shoot me a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. This lets me know that this is the type of content that you want more of and that I can create more of. So thank you so much. So lesson number 3 is this idea of community and collectivity. And in Asia, the power of community is so huge because think about it, right? High populations, lots of people. Tokyo, 45 million people. Singapore, around 6 to 7 million people. Bangkok, 12 million people. High density housing population, people living together in community. That's just normal part of life. This is essentially community and a collective lifestyle. That's just life. That's just a part of life. And there's no escaping from that. In some places like here in the West, like in Europe or North America, it's so big and there's so much space and you have a lot more wealth or resources. You can potentially just escape from your friends or community. In a way, you can kind of run away. When you're on an island, there's no getting away from that. Even though it can be maybe annoying or frustrating at times, it's actually really good for you to be so connected with your community. And that's the paradox and the irony, is that they can't really necessarily escape from it. They just live a part of it. They have to create balance. They have to create harmony. They have to create cooperation. So you see this in low crime rates. You see this in the politeness, the respect, how rarely aggressive or rude people are. The fact that it's there and it's a part of life means that you have to create ways in living with it. And they've really done an incredible job with that. Some of these places like Japan, Singapore, they're some of the safest countries with the lowest crime rates in the world. And that's a direct side effect of this tight-knit collective community living. That's a big lesson here. Living with friends and family, community, being closer together. Yeah, it can be annoying sometimes. Yeah, it can be frustrating. You'd love to have a little bit more privacy, but it's actually super healthy and super good for you. In Germany and in Japan and in Singapore, the buses, the trains, things work and they run on time. And in Thailand or in Spain or Greece or maybe Italy, southern Italy, the buses and the trains, they might never come at all. And why is it that in one environment, you might feel more free, you might feel more at peace and at ease than in the other? And when I just spent 5 months in Thailand, why was it that I felt so much more free and so much more at ease and at peace in Thailand? I think the reality is, in one world with this container, this tightness, life can shrivel. It can be difficult. It can be hard. It can be hard to break out of that form, that structure. In the other, it can be so open and free and chaotic and wild that it's hard to really find any routine or any pattern. You know, at the end of the day, we're not robots. We're human beings, animals, we're creatures at the end of the day. As much as our hyper-productive society would like us to check a lot of boxes and get a lot of stuff done, and that's often what you see in big cities, like even in Bangkok and Singapore and Tokyo, the idea is to fit into the system and to play along with the system. And this is what leads to prosperity and success. I still really enjoyed the freedom that you see in Thailand, and especially I'd say in Chiang Mai, not so much in Bangkok, because it threads a bit of a needle with balance. It has some level of structure, it has some level of safety and security, but it doesn't choke you out with stifling discipline and order and organization and structure like you can feel in different places. And so it's not about necessarily one being better than the other. It's again about balance. It's about we need to find a healthy, moderate middle ground and balance. It doesn't make sense to kill yourself working so hard and following such a strict structure and routine and system and accruing so much wealth and prosperity and productivity if you're not able to really enjoy it. Beginnings and ends, day and night, the sun and the moon, life and death, spring and fall and summer and winter. There's this cycle and balance that makes life possible on our planet. And it also makes life possible for us. In Switzerland, in Japan, in Singapore, the trains, the buses, they run on time. They get you where you need to go. On the other hand, in Thailand, or perhaps in the Philippines, or perhaps in Italy or Spain or Greece or Portugal, the buses, the trains, they might never come. I had it in Bangkok 2 or 3 times where I waited for the bus and it just never came. There are pros and cons to all of these types of worlds and environments, and it really shows up in the energy. We call it the vibes. It has a very tangible impact on us. Which one is healthier? Which one is more positive? I love this quote from William Shakespeare. There is no good or evil, but thinking makes it so. I think the reality is that there's not necessarily a good answer on which one of these countries or environments or systems is better or worse than the other. They have their pros and they have their cons. I think finding a healthy balance and a healthy medium is the most important. And that's where we can really, going from surviving, are we surviving? Are we living? Or are we really thriving? And I always found this such a fascinating paradox and conundrum. When I left San Francisco and Silicon Valley, and it felt like people were not really necessarily that happy. They had all sorts of money and wealth and seemingly prosperity. There's a general sense that people are living, they're surviving, but they're not necessarily really thriving. And then after the hurricanes back in 2017 and 2018, I went to Puerto Rico, and I felt that similar type of energy that I noticed in Thailand. They had some structure, they had some organization. You felt that people were actually a bit more living. Now, again, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were thriving, But I think that's again where the lesson comes in about we have to find a healthy and happy balance. Maybe the question should be, why can't we have both? Why can't we have something in the middle? Is there not a healthy and happy medium? And I really think that there is. Potentially places like Northern Italy, France, south of France, potentially some places in Thailand like Chiang Mai, even potentially Singapore, that these represent a bit of a better happy and healthy medium. But again, I'm not here to really judge and say these environments, these countries, these places, these cultures are perfect. I just think we can learn a lesson from them. And we, for ourselves, as individuals and in our personal lives, we can also find a healthy and happy medium. So if there's one of these lessons and ideas that really resonated with you today and it really touches you in your heart and soul, let me know in the comments down below. What's that lesson? And is there some sort of action? Is there some sort of progress that you can take in your life to make a really positive change for you, your life, your friends, your family? What is it that you can do, even if it's a small step, to make your life better from these lessons that we talked today? Let me know in the comments below. So if you can't tell, I'm a pretty big fan of Asia. I really enjoyed my year there, and I'm actually already planning to go back sometime in the next year or two. I haven't been to Vietnam, I haven't been to South Korea, and there's then the 900-pound gorilla in the room, which is China. And I really am curious to visit China because as an American and with this topic, with all this unease and concern and maybe a bit of aggression there with China and the US, I'm really curious to learn more about China firsthand and not just from what we hear on the internet. So some of you might be asking, why is he doing all this? Life is simply too short, and a lot of us just let it pass us by. I had a time for a few years ago where I wasn't really living. And this is why it's so important to me to learn from the world and try to distill down these lessons and ideas to make our lives happier and healthier and better. So don't let life just pass you by. Life can be way too short. I know this firsthand when my dad passed away at 60 years old. Before you know it, it can be over. So don't let it pass you by.